No, thank you for joining me on the Inspiwords podcast. I've been trying to get you here. Busy man yourself.
Yeah, no, Asia, no, it's been quite hectic.
It's been
Trying to
hectic.
trying to build everything and bring it back together and all of that. Yeah, but yeah, I think I have more time now. You can bring me every week or monthly.
Or romantically, ne? What I want to talk about today is how do we rise
Mm,
from those experiences of failure. And I'm glad that we are doing this. It's in the beginning of the year,
mm,
and then people are setting their goals. They are
mm,
starting the new year,
mm.
2024, and they are they. A lot of us do that. We come in with New Year's resolutions. We
Sure.
want to lose weight. We want to save more money. We
Yeah.
want to make more money. We want to change careers. We wanna, get certain grades. If
Mm,
if we're
mm,
if
mm.
we're at school, we want to get married. We want to get into relationships
Yeah.
and all of these things. We want to be in a good relationship with God. We want to improve, our spirituality and all of that.
Mm,
And you find that as we go in life, as time progresses and the year goes on, a lot of us sort of fall away. A lot of those dreams sort of get abandoned because of lifing.
mm. Yeah. No, I think, look, for me, maybe let me put it this way.
Mm.
Failing, one, it's definitely an uncomfortable experience.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing.
Mm.
I think at whatever level, it's just embarrassing. For me, I feel like it was. For me, I feel like it was worse because I literally have 4 years experience of a year. Like
Ish.
I've had to sit in one class 4 full years and try to.
Wait.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna come for that, right? So remember, I did my final year 2016,
Mhm.
failed.
Mhm.
Then 2017, failed. 2018, passed just enough to get a degree,
Mhm.
right? So what happens in the School of Accounting is that when you're studying Bachelor of Accounting Science, you are doing both BCom Accounting and Bachelor of Accounting Science.
Yeah.
So if you pass some of the modules, they will credit you for the BCom, right? So I passed some. In fact, I barely passed even the sum I'm talking about because I had passed out of four. I had passed one, and then I got a sub for the other, and then
Yo.
I passed the sub. That's how I got the. That's how I got the BCom. So then I was like, you know what? I still have energy. Let me go. Let me go back to get all four because the requirement is that you must pass all four at once. So going back means I'm still sitting in the same class to do the same things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before we'll come back to
Sure.
because this is news to me.
Yeah.
I didn't know you repeated a class 4 times.
Um,
One class 4 times.
I sat in one class 4 times. I repeated 3 times.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
But let's go back to when you came to vets because I knew you were doing very well.
Sure.
Take us through that. What was that experience? Your early years at university, you came from vendor. You were one of those high performing students
Yeah,
probably in your school, and you
Yeah.
got accepted into vets.
Yeah.
And then you come in, you are doing well. Take us through that.
It was good. It was proper because let's see. Initially I wanted to do actuarial science, but I didn't have a bursary for it. So I was like, it's fine. I'm an African child. Let's work with what we have. So
Yeah.
KPMG had already given me an offer, but they were insisting on accounting. So I was like, it's okay, I'll go for accounting. So accounting, and then I get another bursary because my grades were good, from high school. Another bursary. Now I'm, flexing. I have two bursaries that are
Yo.
taking care of me, and performance-wise, I'm okay. I'm in the top 15. Numbers are good and all of that. So I think the first 2 years were amazing. I'm not complaining. There it went very well until
Yeah.
the third year, and then yeah. I mean, when I failed the whole school back from passing everything to just getting nothing,
Sure.
it was a new experience. It's not like I've ever failed in my life. So now I have to try and navigate that season.
A lot of us actually experienced that. I was having this similar conversation with Commander, and one of the things I said is that whenever I talk to students, especially about academic success, I always share my first experience at VETS. That
Sure.
I came from KZN,
Yeah.
being a brilliant student. I was on top of my school, always number one in the top
Mm.
10. And then I got to VEDS. My very first test
Mm.
at VEDS was, and I remember as a mechanics test, I got a zero, bruh. And and
Okay,
then
mine is not that bad. Mine is not that bad. Yeah, no. It came later, so I'm
so
sorry for that. Yeah.
it was really devastating.
Mm.
And it had a great impact on my self-esteem at the time. So I want to hear from you,
Mm.
because for yours is different. You were doing well in the first and the second year.
Yeah.
What happened?
Had you asked this question in 2019, I
Yeah.
would have purely associated with the fact that I lost my brother.
Okay.
And I lost him a couple of weeks before the exam,
Mm.
the June exams. And that's the thing with accounting. Your June exams are like a critical factor to how well you will do at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So now that I look at it, a lot happened in that season. There were just so many things that I had to transition into. One, KPMG withdrew their sponsorship, and it was not because I'm failing. It
Why?
was because they had scandals. And
Oh, I remember
yeah, if you
that.
remember those,
Yes,
yeah.
I remember. I
So
remember.
they
Yeah.
dropped us, even though I've passed to the other year. So now I
Eish.
don't have funding. That's problem number one. Two, I then lose my brother. So I feel like the losing of KPMG I was not conscious of it at the time. That you know what, actually this is a big factor. Because I'm just a kid from Venda whose parents are not working anywhere. And now I'm losing the very people who have to pay for the fees. Despite how well I might be doing, it's a challenge, you know. And I think the more I think about it, because I then told my brother, right?
The one who passed away.
Yes, I told him like I think 2 weeks before he passed on. I won't have a sponsorship and all of that. And he was quite optimistic. It's like, don't worry, bruh. You know, me, I will take care of you. I'll pay for these things and all of that. Then
Sure.
2 weeks later, this guy is gone. Right.
Ish.
So now I think unconsciously, I was thinking about it. That, yeah, one, I've lost a sponsor. Two, I've lost the very person who said, um, I'm going to stick I'm gonna come up for you. You know, I'll take care of you and all of that. We had like real plans where we're gonna stay and all of that. Because I was already worried I'm gonna get out of race and all of that. So moving along, 2017, 2016, Tutuga then also withdraws their sponsorship.
So you were then funded by Tutuga.
So I had KPMG and Tutuga
Oh,
first year,
hey, you're a
second year.
rich kid, eh?
Yeah, no, things were going well. Like, you know, I was even thinking of starting a business and all of that. My allowance was ready to just take me into business and all of that. So I'm saying, if I had to summarize what happened, I think all of those things happened, and I think I purely associated it with my brother. But in real terms, or the reality of the matter was that it was just a lot of things happening at the same time. And mind you, it was also during Fees Must Fall.
Yes, I
Fees Must
remember.
Fall
Yeah.
is jumping in and all of that. And I feel like as a guy, maybe let me speak from a guy's perspective. I think we always have that I'm okay response to real challenges. That we
I
only
know you're
realize
actually not.
you are not okay. Yeah, you are not okay, but you are built to suggest to yourself that you know what, it's okay, it's something, it happens, and all of that. So you you say you are moving on, but truth of the matter is you are moving on with unresolved, undealt with issues, and they will only start showing over time, or based on the quality of your decisions, the outcome of life, how life is turning out, and all of that. So I've done a reflection, actually not even that long ago. I think maybe a month ago. I'm glad we're having this conversation.
Yeah.
I just thought about what really happened with me, you know. So I think if I had to put it, yeah, those things were just a lot. And honestly, we, I didn't know what to do because I thought I was fine.
And it's very interesting because a lot of the time when people fail, it's easy for them to be blamed, especially as a student.
Sure.
It's easy for people to think that, hey, now that you're at varsity, you're no longer working hard, you're probably,
Yeah.
having fun there,
Yeah.
you're turning up, you're going to those places, because there's an assumption about the kind of life that people live at varsity.
Sure.
And I think that when you fail, there might be some people and assumptions about what could have caused that.
Sure.
And it's it's often you are the ones to blame. You are not
Sure.
studying hard enough,
Sure.
because a lot of the people who know you from home
Sure.
would not think that a person like you would fail.
No way. How is that even possible?
Sure.
I think it was a shock to everyone. It was a
Mm,
shock to my lectures. One of
mm.
my lecturers actually called me to the office just to have that conversation. Brr, what's happening?
Yo.
And I don't have an answer. I'm just resorting to I lost my brother. I lost my brother. That's all I think I knew at the time. That is
Mm,
the real challenge that I have. But maybe to tap into the whole issue of hard work and whatnot,
mm,
I wouldn't blame anyone who
mm,
suggested I didn't work hard, because it has
mm,
never been my thing. I have never struggled. My father used to sleep on my bed when I was in high school
mm.
just to force me to study. And I would go out, like I would sneak out and then go sleep outside, because me, I'm okay. Like I knew I was gonna pass, and I was
Yeah.
I was not too inspired by the idea of let me get like 100% whatever.
Mm,
I was just interested. I'm gonna get a distinction. I'll get a bursary. I'll go study what I want. I'm okay. So yes, if I had to just move out of real problems that I had
mm,
and tap into the idea of hard work,
mm.
I wouldn't blame people who would say maybe you're just not working hard enough. Yes, I wasn't.
So, do you think you were not working hard enough?
I definitely think I was not working hard enough because I never had to. I never had
Ah.
to work for school issues. So learning to study at third year was
Ish.
now a real problem because I don't know how to do that. I
So
know.
what was different about third year now? Because my thinking and my belief is that when we get to university, of course, there is that transition that
Mm,
we have
mm,
to undergo, transitioning from high school to
yeah.
university, which is like different.
Mm,
And the expectations at university are high. The pass mark is high,
sure.
the workload is high, the number of courses you're doing is
Mm,
high, and of course there's that transition. So
mm.
how did you manage that in first year, second year, you were able to go through without really doing the
Um.
hard work?
Oh, okay. No, first year, second year. Actually, I did fail a test in first year.
Mm,
I think I got 48. My first ever test.
mm.
I called home. I was crying. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna fail first. Guys, I failed. So my sister laughed at me. She's like, it's just your first test.
Yeah.
Then from there, I became okay. Again, I will go back to the fact that even then,
Mm,
I didn't have to put a lot of hours. My
mm,
my working model from childhood had always been I'll go sit in the front row anyway
yeah.
and listen.
Mm,
And I will listen, and from there I will grasp whatever needs, and then that will give me enough to build my argument in an exam, in a test, and whatever.
mm,
So I'll definitely pass. So I don't think I transitioned a lot. But what we'll do, I would always have friends, who would have discussions and all of that. So maybe if I had to compare those first 2 years
mm,
and 2016 going forward,
mm,
is the fact that because I was going through a lot, I now lost the groups where we could have
mm,
discussions and then I will grasp whatever needs. Because one, I stopped going to most classes,
mm,
because I was like, my mind was just shut from, I couldn't hear what
mm,
these guys are talking about.
mm.
So losing the groups, no longer going to class, meant I lost my advantage now because that was my working model,
Mm.
you see. So, yes, honestly, I've never really had to transition to let's work harder
Mm.
until I just realized, hey, Munabi, you are repeating again. And now, not only is it becoming embarrassing, it's becoming costly because people won't pay for failing. They will, at some point, they will say, we won't be able to pay for you. You
Sure.
get what I mean? So I think that part, obviously, then became an even bigger issue. The
Mm,
fact that now I have to learn to study.
mm.
You would really not find me in a library. Like, that's not
where,
me.
where would you be
I'll
found?
be at home. I'll be in the room. I used to stay at men's rise. I'll be in the room. I watched a lot of series, in my first
Mm.
days,
So
honestly.
these series are really dealing with students
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, in my depression seasons, I really watched. That was one of the things that I would just do. Just watch series and whatever. Then yeah, try for studying, but it didn't make sense.
Mm. And I'm also wondering, because universities have, you know, counseling units.
Mm.
Did you ever seek that kind of help?
I went once.
Why?
I went to CCDU once.
Uh,
Um, Obviously, it's a foreign concept.
mm,
This whole seeking help and whatnot. I went there. I think I sat in the reception, and No one was attending to me for a little while. I was like, these people are not taking me serious. I left. I
And
just went home.
you never even had a session
I
there.
never even had a session. I just left and I was like, yeah. And then some guy inspired me not to ever go by saying, when you get there, they're going to ask you questions like, were you breastfed or, milk something in the bottle? As soon as I heard that, I was like,
Wow.
these ones are not my crew, these ones. So yeah, I just left it at that. My family, on the other hand, if I had to maybe just divert a bit, have always been pro support
Yeah.
and they would even bring money, for me to go and pay for these sessions. I mean, I was chowing that money like I would go to vacation because for me, that was my
Sure.
that was my healing point. You know,
Uh, did
I,
it work?
no, I think let's put it this way, right? You feel like it's working.
Oh
You feel like it's
yeah.
working. I feel like it's that enclosed happiness that just umbrellas the real issue. You on the outside, even you yourself can deceive yourself to that point of saying, definitely I'm okay. I went to Durban for the first time. Seeing because I mean the ocean was a description, not
I
necessarily
wonder
having
you guys that
yeah,
side
we
of
don't have. We
Venda, you
just have
don't have such
just have
things.
some small rivers, passing there and there. So now I'm at Durban, and I'm just saying, wow, and the air is amazing. So for me, I felt like what, I'm getting better.
Did they know that that's what you did with the money?
No, I was honest with them. I just told them, I'm not going to this thing. I'm gonna go to Durban. So now they're like, okay, it's your decision. But I
Sure.
think deep down they were burning with the idea that just go see someone. Of course, they would only resort to you lost your brother. You were very close because he used to stay nearby. So every time I needed something, I knew I'm gonna call this guy. He's gonna come running. If I'm sick, he's coming. All of that, and it was a new experience. All in all, having to lose someone so close, and
Yeah.
it's happening at a late age where I feel like I was reasonably unprepared. Right, I have lost people before, but not that close. Maybe uncles, aunts, and all of that. A sibling, that had never happened. So it hit well, like proper. But because of where you are raised and the culture that roams in the area, it's not like we've ever had anyone from home say, I'm going to seek counseling because they lost someone. You tend to default to how things happen, which is the idea that this definitely doesn't make sense. And I think the way I'm comfortable talking about this now, I'm generally uncomfortable talking to people about this unless I know I trust them, right? But I'm saying I've now reached a point where this is what I should have been doing 2016, right? With a professional. Speak out, cry out if needs be, and all of that. So yeah, if I had to summarize, I would say that's just the real issue of what happened in those days.
And then now this thing of 4 times, help me understand, because I'm hearing this for the first time. I
Yeah,
know the
a lot of
story
people are
because we've
hearing it for
had
the first time.
that
Sure.
conversation, but I'm hearing for the first time this
Mm.
whole 4 times thing. What happened?
Um, Third year is the final year in BXI, right? And then you can
What's
go
BXI? Because other people
Bachelor of
might not
Accounting
have heard.
Sciences.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, yeah, Bachelor of Accounting Sciences. So third year you graduate, right? So I failed third year. So automatically I have to come back because I can't go to CTA having not completed third year fully. So if you pass 2 modules out of 4, you can graduate BCom and then come and do some credits so that you pass all 4 and then go to CTA and then you are done with your studies. So for me, I failed all 4, right?
Sure.
2016. Um,
That's big.
yeah, so I go back. I'm like, let's start over. 2017, I fail all 4 again, right? And the most painful thing is I'm failing with the most closest margin. At some point, I think I had 47, 47, 49, 49,
Yo.
2017. And I'm just like, oh, these people must really hate me. Maybe they saw me on some camera for Christmas volume. They're just like, this one, we're gonna hold him.
You'll just take these two.
It was quite hectic because I'm just like, wow, this is way too close to be, it's not fair. So that's what happened. So 2018, when I'm going, they'd already told me if you fail this time, you are gone. Right.
So that you're going to be academically excluded.
I'm out of it. So I managed to push 2, which means I can get a BCom. So remember, when you get a BCom, you can then automatically come back and do the credits so that you get to CTA. So that's what I did 2019. So 2019, I was not studying like for a degree. I was just there for credit so that I then get back on road to CTA. So that's what I did. That's how I got to repeat. I mean, do 16, 17, 18, 19.
So 16, 17, 18, 19.
4
And
years
the
ago.
19 year, you were now doing the credits.
The credit
so
so that
you
I
could
get
into
to
CTA.
CTA in 2020. Yeah.
Where did you get the courage? Like, because for me, like, first time, second time, not passing second time, you come back third time,
Mm.
it doesn't work out that well. You have to
Yeah.
come back the fourth time for these credits. Now,
Yeah.
what gave you the courage to come back?
We have to finish. We
Mm,
have to finish. I always have that philosophy. At the end of the day, we have to finish.
mm,
So I grew up in a very, like, I think my background had already taught me that at the end of the day, we have to finish because I grew up poor. My parents have never worked. So there's always that thing that says, if you don't complete it, where are you going to go? What's going to happen with you? Um, it's not like I have the option to say, I'm going to go to work at my brother's company. We don't have that. You just have what you have right now. The same way I was saying to you between actuary and accounting science, some people would have opted to just say, let me risk the actuary route without funding. For me, it doesn't make sense. I mean, I don't have that liberty. My thinking is always, let's get this part done. Then, when we are comfortable and safe and secure, we can then do something else. So the courage was just from that. It's just to say, you have to get this done, one way or the other. Speaking of that, I'm going back to school next year to get it done.
Oh, so you're not done with the CTA thing?
I haven't done CTA because as I said, because of failing, I ended up owing a lot and all of that. So I
Okay.
couldn't complete. I just got a BCom degree, which is what kept me at vets, and I would say gave me my alumni status. Like, otherwise, I would have just been that one.
The coveted
Yeah,
Vets
like
alumni status.
vets will just say we once saw him somewhere here. It's not a graduate of ours or anything like that. So yeah, it's
see.
from that, man. Just to say, let's get it done.
When you graduated with the BCom
Hmm.
degree, I remember you were owing money.
Yes.
How much was that, and how did you deal with that? And you've just mentioned it now.
I mean, I was owing 167,000
Sure,
um post completing.
that's a lot of money.
Yeah, 167. So yeah. Um so how what I did was what other people were doing. Post publicly, LinkedIn and whatnot. Like, guys, I need help. Like, I owe this much. I think the first round I got about 1,000 something. Some people posted 200 there, 300, but I was very grateful. I'm like, at least someone, replied.
Yeah.
And then the second time, because I tried it again, second time, I think it was 2021 or so, I got like 3,000, right? Which I'm very grateful for, to all those people who contribute, because I don't even know them. It's just people who are just posting straight to, I mean, paying straight to the university. The biggest change happened when I joined EGC, right? That was,
Eternal Glory
yes,
Church in
Eternal
4
Glory
ways.
Church in 4 ways. Muruti just then tapped on that issue, and then the church offered 30K. So that's when I started seeing like a big shift in the debt. 30K, and then another lady from the US, I think, paid like 5,000. I also contributed some monies because I was also getting money there and there. So that brought it down. I would say it brought it down to about 120 something, which is still there. I still owe it. But maybe to say the difference between 2019 and 2023, or maybe let me say the difference between pre 2023 and 2023 for me has just been, I was too concerned with the debt at the time, because my desire was, I need to go back to vets, I need to finish. I didn't think what other options are there for me to get this thing done and maybe settle the debt with my own money or whatever. So now I'm much more aware of other institutions and all of that. So I would say, yeah, in a nutshell, that's what happened, in between these seasons.
I'm picking up a lot of things, and
Yeah.
I'm also just like amazed by the bravery and the courage.
Mm.
I think what needs to happen in a person's life
Mm.
to, okay, maybe let me phrase the question differently.
Sure.
I think for a lot of people, it would be a hard thing to go on social media
Mm.
and say, I need money,
Mm.
right? Where did that courage come from? What was happening in your mind when you made that decision and you were making those calls and you would seeing um, not yielding
Mm.
the kind of results you would have hoped for?
Mm. Look, the thing is, what else must happen?
Mm.
Because, like I said, I think pride plays a key role in admitting you need help, right? Like,
Mm.
it's hard for some people to just open up and say, guys, I need help. But I also don't want to rule out that it's a very difficult thing to come out publicly, say, guys, I need help, because the unfortunate thing is that we live in a world where human reaction is quite unstable.
Yeah,
It's not like we have a
it's not
predetermined.
predictable.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
like we have predetermined answers where everyone's just like, oh my god, yes, money, whatever. Some might actually judge you for that.
Mm.
Like you said when you were asking initially, they might actually, you just didn't work hard enough,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
that's rather an uncomfortable response.
Mm.
And that time maybe there were other factors in play, but for me, it's like this. I think it's just one of the possibilities that leads people to actually open up. For me, it's you just, at some point, I think you reach a point where your life is not moving forward,
Mm.
right? And if it's not moving forward, unfortunately for me, I think community is a critical aspect of our progress, right? Just to
Yeah.
say, we have people, while others will respond adversely or not in the way we're hoping for, others may respond in the way we are hoping for. And I think everyone always needs to rely on that. We need to rely on the possibility that because people are so mixed
Mm.
in life,
Mm.
not everyone will take it well, but at the same time, there are some who will take it well. So let's be more optimistic on the idea that those who will take it will bring the necessary assistance that we need. So that's what I think I got. That's where I gathered my courage from, to say, despite the fact that there are those who will judge, there are those who will ridicule, there are definitely those who will say, sure, let's come in for this guy, and they did. There are those who came in, who supported, and all of that. So I would say that's how I look at it. To say, where do you find your courage? Just look at from, there are people who want to help you. It's just that you have not spoken up. There are definitely people who want to help you. Yeah.
There's also like a perspective
Mm.
thing. You are talking about the fact that definitely some will not
Sure.
respond in the way that you want them to respond,
Mm.
and then some will respond in that way and
Mm.
provide the necessary help.
Yeah.
A lot of us tend to magnify this side of things that some would not be willing
Sure.
to help me,
Sure.
and because of that,
Mm.
I'm not going to ask for help. I would rather not go out there and embarrass
Embarrass myself.
myself,
Yeah.
in asking for this kind of help.
Mm.
And at the end of the day, they still won't have that help. I
Sure.
think there's something that happens where we're trying to protect reputations that we don't even have.
Yeah.
You
That's a
know,
good one. Yeah.
we're trying, because what do I have to lose when I
Mm.
actually need help and I'm not going out
Mm.
and asking for that help? I think that's also something very, very important
Sure.
for us to cultivate.
Sure. No, I agree with you. I mean, reputation wise, it's always a risk. Like, it is a risk,
Mm.
because while we say maybe we don't have it per se,
Mm.
there is a little bit of human dignity that comes with um, each and every one of us. Just the fact
Yeah,
that you're a human being,
exactly.
that makes it hard to open up about certain things, because unfortunately people are vultures, while there are also angels. Here some are just straight arrows
Mm.
of destruction and all of that. So I agree, we should look at it from the angle of, there are definitely people who will help out, but yeah, navigating the ones who won't, it's very difficult. And I sympathize with anyone who struggles, to come out with that. My advice, on the other hand, would just be, um, life is a risk either way. It's
Mm.
either the very little reputation you feel you need to protect will never amount to anything more because you're not asking for help, or it will, be exposed to both fronts of life, where the ones who don't like it will come out, but the ones who like it will come out, and you know your population. The worst thing that happens is that you don't know people around you. You know, yeah. How's that for a measure? You don't know who's there for you. You don't know who's your your cheerleader, and you don't know. You're just sitting there by yourself, hiding under. I
And you
don't.
can never find out.
Yeah, you, and I think it's better to find out. I think it's better to find out that these ones are definitely not for my growth. They're definitely not for my success. So I would say people need to look at it that way. To say, at the end of the day, hidden reputation is just as good as nothing, because you need to know your people. You need
Yeah.
to know people who will be your community of growth. You need to know your adversaries. I think the pastor was preaching about adversaries
I think
and
it
friends.
might be Sis EP on JP's podcast.
Yes, you need to know your friends and your champions and your cheerleaders. So coming out for me to ask for help also helps clarify those two fronts, to say, at the end of the day, I know Umto will not be like, Mathegu. You know, I used to see you buying a nice chicken lick, and why didn't you use that? Can't
As
maybe?
if Chicken Licken would have
Yeah,
paid
would have
for
paid
the fees.
167,000. You know, like so. I think besides the fact that you just need to ask for help, I think that's how I look at it. Just to say, at the end of the day, for us to grow, for us to build a strong brand, we need to come out
Yeah.
and speak out, and obviously ask for help, and be ready. I think be prepared that you will have two receptions. That's just how life is. Others will take it well, others won't. Others will feel like this one is just coming for our money.
It's a scam,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. You hear such things.
Yeah.
Like, yo, why are you even asking for help? And you have to keep quiet and just say, yeah, and then be grateful and all of that. So that's how I look at it. Yeah.
Interesting. And I know, Guti, while you were not able to continue into City A
Sure.
because of some of the things that
Yeah.
you've mentioned now, you did not then just go back home and sit and be like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's over,
Yeah.
with my dream.
Sure.
I can't do anything.
Sure.
You got out of university, you started a business,
Yeah.
and you started with um aluminum
Yeah.
windows. Tell me that process. How did you get to that? Of all things, because I'm thinking somebody who is in accounting, you probably would get out and say, let me do some
Start doing people's
bookkeeping for,
books and all of
you
that.
know,
Send invoices.
send invoices. So how
I always
how
think
did you
about
get
it.
into the aluminum windows?
Yeah. Okay. So aluminium windows was an invitation because of accounting.
Okay.
These guys are like, we need a third person who will be more in the financial side of things, right? So that's how it started. We would have meetings,
So you had
brainstorm.
guys that had a aluminum windows
One
business.
guy was like on the ground, he was operational, he had the experience, while the other guy, that business was just interesting. While the other guy is a medical doctor, like this thing is not so, the main guys are not skilled or well resourced. They are just enthusiastic about business and all of that. So me and him were more like upper management. It's a more of a thing of, we studied at vets and all of that, feeling important and stuff. While the other guy was more on the ground, he had the experience. So it was an invitation. I took it well because I've always wanted to be in business. So I was like, it's fine. But that invitation then opened my eyes to the field of construction, where I was just like, I actually think I can do this. So that aluminium business, somewhere along the way, just got messy. I got out. On the weeks of getting out, I meet this woman because I was angry. When you're making decisions out of emotion. I'm taking my last savings, I'm going to buy aluminium machines. That time I have zero experience in actually doing the work. I'm just bitter because of how the relationship didn't go well in the other side. This woman says, do you know how to do these things? I'm like, I actually don't. She's like, okay, no problem. From to Monday, please come, I'll teach you.
Or
So
she was in the same
she had the
business.
business, yeah. She had the business. So I took 6 months off. I think that was 2020. 6 months off between July and December 2020. Just learning how to do aluminium, how to install, how to count and all of that, how to cut. She literally offered for free for that 6 months. But
So it was some sort of an apprenticeship.
yeah, just not a formal one where
Yeah.
I'll get a certificate at the end. I was just getting the skills and stuff. And obviously at the time, because I can't do accounting stuff and all of that. It was a thing of, you know what, this makes more sense. But in January 2021, I started posting some architects' plans. I got to connect, I talk. So I talked to this guy. I'm like, I can sell your plans. This guy says, sure. So when I advertised those plans for him, I then attracted a guy from Palabura who says, please come to Palabura. I'm like, oh, sure. I don't even know Palabura. Like, I'm coming.
Were you in Venda at the
I
time?
was in Venda. The guy says, come to Palabura. And that time, I don't have a construction business or anything. I'm just posting these guys' plans. I get to Palabura. My mom is very protective. She's just like, what if they kill you and all of that? I'm like, don't worry,
Hey,
I'll
mothers
figure.
and their babies.
Yeah, I'm like, don't worry, I'll figure it out. Get to Palabura. This guy pays for my hotel. Says, hey man, I'm calling you for a real job here. I want you to be here. I want you to design for me 12 plans. How? And now I have the dilemma that I actually don't draw.
Does he know? He didn't know that
No,
you
he
couldn't
didn't
draw.
know. I didn't disclose. In all honesty, I didn't tell him I don't draw. I was just like, sure, no problem. Me, I will get these things for you.
Yo.
I go back to vendor. This guy is following up. I'm very serious about this thing. So I then now make a point of making sure the plans are drawn.
By that guy you were
Yeah,
posting
then
plates
then take them back to Palabora. As soon as I take them, I still felt like he was joking.
So the guy you were posting for is an architect.
Qualified and all. He's still like the guy that I go to when I need like assistance and all of that. So I go to Palabura. When I get to Palabura, I submit these plans. This guy pays me what was a lot of money at the time. Like, it was a lot. I remember he gave me cash and I was holding it in my bag. I was like, I was feeling powerful that day.
Yo.
So that's how my construction journey began. 2021, because of that guy. And the fortunate thing with him is that come October, November 2021, he then says, I need you to come back to build these houses. 12, right?
Why did he ask you to build the house?
It's like you designed them. So I don't want to call people who don't know about these things. I was like, my guy, I'm coming. So now I have to assemble a team of trained individuals because I don't build. I have zero experience in building. So I found some guys, some Tsonga guys, and they started showing me their work and how good it was. So I take them to Palabora. It was all a big risk. We are all just going there and I don't know what I'm doing. That's when I started disclosing. I have zero experience in this thing. But it's like, don't worry, I'll help you. So that guy literally gave me a lifeline because what he did was buy me.
He gave you a jumpstart.
Yeah, like he really. Thank you.
Must use the correct language.
Please, like, yeah, no, I apologize. That's the correct term. Like, he gave me a proper jump start, that man, because shout out to him. He bought me from the spade to every single equipment I can think of.
Sure.
He bought all of that and took me to site, and he says, "You're gonna use this. I really don't know what you're doing." And now I have to be on the ground. He hired TLB to dig, and like he was on my neck every day about teaching me. Cecile, you must relocate to Palavura so that you can learn these things. I relocated to Palavura and I was learning. Obviously, I will not lie. I was also making like real mistakes and stuff. So the reason why I'm disclosing is because I felt he was my greatest learning point. Because he really shielded me. He took me in. He
Is there somebody you knew? Where did this person come
I didn't
from?
know the guy. He just saw me on Facebook.
And have you ever like asked him why he?
Why me?
Because I think he also took quite a big risk.
He did. I still tell him to this day that, yeah, man, that was a real gamble.
And
Yeah,
what's his response to it?
Yeah, he was like, but it was worth it. Look, you are moving now. You are moving. You are growing and all of that. And the thing is, at least I always knew in my head that if someone gives you a chance, you have zero experience. Rather find people who are experienced in doing. So I spent my money, which I was supposed to now pay vets with. paying experienced people
to do
because
the work.
I don't want to embarrass myself again. You see now, they must get it right because if they flop on the job, it's adding on my ticket to failure, and I don't think that will sit well with me as a person. It now becomes a good book of experiences where you 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 need something to hold on to after you failed
Yeah.
that says I'm recovering. So Palabora was like a recovery point for me. Where I was just like, when I would see those foundations, I would feel like crying. I'm just like, hey, Mona, you may not be an accountant, but look at what you're doing.
Yeah.
And when I would post, people would start coming in. You're so great. You're so big. Obviously, let's be honest. Who will post the beautiful things, right?
Of
It's not
course,
like I'm
you won't
gonna go.
post the mistakes.
Yeah, it's not like I'm gonna go up talk about the days where he would be pissed at me and all of that. Like I would talk about the beautiful plans and all of that.
Yeah.
But I really give credit to him because I don't think I would be here if it was not the patience.
Give him his flowers while he's
No,
still
I'm
alive.
giving the guy flowers. His name is Mandlazi. I mean, send him is Mandlazi. His name is Humphrey. So Humphrey Mandlazi.
No, Humphrey Mandlas, we are
Yeah,
proud of you.
yeah,
South Africa needs people like yourself.
he's amazing. I really look up to him to this day. But I think the second person that I would want to talk to is my brother. Talk about is my brother. So my brother is a mining engineer, but he's always been passionate about drawing, right? So my brother is the one who took me more into the drawing side, where it's like, I think you can learn this thing. You can learn this thing, especially the 3D, 3Ds and all of that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he really, really, really taught me that part. He was more hands on. While I had the architect guy, I knew I had the lessons more from my brother. But I'm generally a quick study, because it took me about a month to master doing the 3D images and all of that. So, but I give credit to my brother on that side of things. So that's how my construction journey really began.
So how has it been going? Because I know now you're
Hey,
working with like
don't ask
million
me for
rand
money.
kind
Like,
of project.
don't be saying give me money for a studio or anything like that.
I'm gonna definitely come to you.
No, like, look, we getting there, right? We're getting there. I think because I'm also recovering from failure, and I'm also growing in business. I've also just reached a point where I'm reflecting on that thing you once said, when you were saying we are never the same people.
Yeah.
After failing and whatnot, or like an unfortunate incident doesn't really take us back. So I feel like for the most part of this transition, I was fighting too hard to be that person, the one I know. It's much more comfortable to remind myself about 2015, 2014, and high school. So I was there. That's where I was, just trying to, even in my doing construction, the mind was still caught up on uh, becoming that person again. Until I think last year and most part of this year, where I said you need to be more merciful to yourself, right? Like just be kinder and let go of those days, because you are doing. I actually do say this to myself. You are doing great work.
You are.
It's not like I
You are.
studied construction. So when I look at things getting done, I start to say, hey, bro, you are doing great work. And you are becoming so much more than you had anticipated. It's not a survival. It's no longer a survival trade. It's more of, now I've landed on my feet, and I'm now starting to walk forward. And I'm building, I'm feeding my baby. I call business a child. I think you need to look at them like a newborn baby who doesn't know how to take care of themselves and all of that until they reach a point of self-sufficiency and all of that. So I would say, all in all, I'm I'm at a much more comfortable position. Not necessarily money wise. Still need to, yeah,
Disclaimer.
yeah, no, like, because I know, people are, yeah, this guy has money. It's just an issue of structure wise.
Yeah.
I think there's more clarity, there's more definition, and I am also more at a point of, like I said, I'm much more merciful to myself. So as a result, my focus is much more clear, because I'm not trying to compensate for lost days. I'm not trying to recover those seasons. I'm not trying to be who I used to be. I'm now at a point where I'm like, you are in construction. While you will finish accounting and all of that, you're a business person. Let's work on business branding, which is something that I feel like I was not intentional about. The brand, our products, fine, people love them, but I think I had not given a bold definition of this brand in its entirety. What is it that you guys are doing? So the past 3 months, I think have given me that, just tapping into our sense of clarity to say, this is who we are, this is what we do, this is what we want to continue doing. I'm not all over the place. I'm not trying to get money I don't need to get. I'm not trying to work hours I don't need to work to feed into a recovery mode. I'm just like startling. This is where we are, and this is where we're going. Yeah.
Why did you call the business Startling?
I think no, the name has always been there, even before in any form of failure. So that one was not a compensation or anything. We had Startling Consulting when we were doing tutoring, well, about 2015. So it has just been there. I just loved the idea of amazing, beautiful, proper. Yeah.
And you're producing amazing,
Yeah, no, I
beautiful,
think
proper stuff.
I know, like, give us credit on that one. our plans are proper.
Like, bruh, I really admire your courage.
Yeah.
I really admire your courage. Just looking at, I know the experience of owing university
Sure.
money,
Sure.
and it was not nearly as big as the money that you owed.
Yeah.
But I know how hurtful that experience can be, and feeling like there's nothing you can do about this. But I really, really admire your courage that you could go back to the same class 3 times.
Sure.
And even when, after you have done all of that, it doesn't really get you to the CTA that you wanted in the beginning.
Sure.
You did not just give up and say, I'm like, whatever happens. But you took other opportunities that came your way, and you took them with both hands.
Sure.
And as you're telling your story, I'm just realizing and picking up quite a number of things that I feel are very important for us to understand, especially when we are going through those experiences of failure. Number one, I'm looking at the role of people.
Sure.
Of course, I'm going to look at that because I wrote a whole book titled The
Human
Jumpstart
connections,
Effect,
yeah.
Why Human Connections Matter.
Absolutely, yeah.
And your story is an express image of that. Is like the ideal example of how human connections matter. You talk about the people that you met that invited you into the aluminium business. You talk about the lady who said, I'm going to teach you this.
Yeah.
I might not be able to give you the money that you
Yeah,
need. I might
yeah.
not be able to pay for your fees, but I'm
Yeah.
going to teach you a skill
Yeah.
that could actually get you that money that you
Yeah.
need. And in there, the dedication and the commitment, having a vet degree and going back into manual labor,
Yeah.
spending 6 months learning how to fit
Hey.
aluminium windows.
Yeah, don't remind me. Like, I once bent myself with a drill, learning how
Sure.
to install drill bits. I was like, I'm I studied at vets, one. Like,
You see,
why am I doing this thing? Yeah.
and for me, that's very much admirable. The kind of courage it takes to go from that. Because I think in one of the conversations we've had in the past is how your view of what your life would be like
Sure.
because of the fact that you studied towards CTA.
Yeah.
The view that you had was completely different from what then happened
Sure.
afterwards.
Sure.
And you meet this lady, says, I'm going to teach you to do this, and they teach you to do that. In the process of doing that, you meet this other person from Palaburwa,
Sure.
and it's a person that you don't know. It's a person who doesn't know you. They met you online, and they take a risk. They bet on you
Yeah.
to say,
$1 million rand risk.
That's-
not even 1 million. Maybe let's say 2 million rand risk.
that's the money that
Yeah.
the project was
it's
going to
like 12
cost.
houses, so there's no way you'll build 12 houses for less than 2 million. No way.
Imagine
Yeah.
how much money that is.
Yeah.
And all of these are like jump starts that got you into the construction business you are in now.
Sure.
And you're now building houses in Joburg.
Sure.
You've built houses back home in
Yeah.
Limpopo.
Yeah.
And you've done great work. Where did that courage come from?
Okay. maybe let me add a couple of things, right? While I'm trying to build more clarity on where did the courage come from, because I feel like I'm acknowledging a lot about so many people. There are others that I feel like I need to openly acknowledge before I go anywhere.
Sure.
You know, or you know how to be a very ungrateful human being. I have two friends,
Yeah.
female friends. Name is Juwe Rakalaru, and another is Mshidzi Mauda. They also took a big risk of giving me money. You know, like they gave me money when I was jumping into the construction. I mean, the aluminium solo ride business. You know, they took a risk. To this day, I know those people are still my biggest champions.
How much money did they give?
20K. You know,
Sure.
20K. I mean, 10 each. You know, like 10 each.
So say, go start this business.
They didn't want it back or anything like that. It was just an issue of, look, we know where you are right now, and obviously we won't be able to give you 167,000, but this can push you, you know, for the time being. My family, you know, also contributed a lot financially to try and bring that level of stability. So I feel like maybe before I jump into where does it come from, I think partly it comes from, I'm going to be very big on community. I think your self courage sometimes can only take you so far.
Yeah.
Because without people, it's hard.
Actually, people believing in you.
Yeah, like people who champion you.
You really have to believe in someone to give them that kind of money.
Sure. No, like to this day, when they start to see where we are going, I see them clapping hands like, yo, wow, this thing is actually now becoming a thing. You know, even my own family, you know. It's that I don't want to handpick one because now I'm going to talk about everyone in my family. So I just give thanks to God for them. But I think the last one that gives a lot of courage is God Himself. And I feel like we can tap everywhere to try and find where does it come from. I can even speak boldly about myself. Now, I was raised this way, and all of that. But I think I would be walking amiss if I don't really talk about the fact that God preserves us, God restores, He gives us that walking stick, you know, in those seasons. The word comes through, you know, and reminds you. So because in all these difficulties, I think the one thing I always fought for was my relationship with God. You know, there are people who would mock me, you know, like, I mean, you are a servant of God, you're failing, nothing seems to come together. And I would always hold on to the book of Daniel, where he says he's able. Even if he doesn't, I just want you to know he's able.
Yeah.
So that has always been my working point, to say, even if I never get to sit here, even if I never get the most amazing job, whoever it is, I want you to know one thing: God is able. I'll give you a story, for example, just to show you how critical God is to the whole courage aspect. I went to Mission 2020 with the CAF mission. To those who don't know what CAF is Christian Action Fellowship, which is adverts. So I went to Mission 2020. That was the season when COVID was in, right? And there were those teachers' assistants post, right? I felt in my spirit, you know what? Go to Mission. Though they wanted me to take that job. I remember my family was so pissed with me that week. How can you prioritize this when they're giving you a job? You know how hard it has been. But I was like, no, God will take care of me next year. And I thank God I made that decision, because that's how I got to meet Manjazi. Had I taken the teacher's assistant post, I wouldn't have been able to go to Palaburu, because I have to work. And that was for an entire year. So now that I look at everything, honestly, we can speak about everyone. I can talk about my own boldness and confidence, but I don't think it's fair or realistic to suggest that you can do all of these things, including community, without God.
Yeah.
So I want to firm on the God side to say it has been God really at the end of the day, including bringing the people, you know, the friends who took risk with their money and all of that. Yeah.
So, as way of wrapping up,
Yeah.
how do I rise up from experiences of failure?
Okay.
I know it's a broad question.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
No, I'll give you the best I can. One, first of all, admit to yourself that you are in a challenging season. It's that's the reality, because I think if we don't first admit that I'm in a difficult space, it's hard to know what to do about a problem you don't yet admit you have, because you will either try to overcompensate by doing anything to to feel better. But I think right medication is easier to prescribe when you already know the right problem. You get me? So I feel like to rise up is first to admit I'm down,
Yeah,
because you are.
that's powerful.
I'm down, and now it's a question of how do I get up, right? So, fine. One is because you have already admitted to yourself. The next step for me is definitely seeking people who can now start helping to take the right steps, you know. And that always comes with the risk, as I said. The risk being some won't receive you, but some will. But in the midst of all of that, I think more than anything, we just have to be more gracious to ourselves every day, you know, not be too hard. Because I feel like if you constantly do this to yourself, I failed maybe because I did this, I failed because maybe I look like this. You're never going to get out of those things because now you're caught up on self blame, even self pity, and all of that. Instead of saying, whatever reason it may be, at the end of the day, you have failed, whether it was a circumstance beyond your control, whether it was your own doing or whatever. Now the point is just to say, people are speaking, man. Honestly, look at Eternal Glory Church, for example. For me, it has been a serious recovery point in a very short space of time. It's just to say, let's not think there isn't help. I just think because we are not looking per se, we don't always see that there is help out there. There are people who spend their entire day just trying to prescribe solutions to real problems, podcasts,
Yeah,
YouTube videos, the Jumpstart Effect.
yeah,
How is that for a solution?
yeah.
I'm happy to give my book to anyone who feels like they are down so that they can learn about human connections, and start picking up. But I think all in all, as I close, I would say in that seeking of help, so that you recover well, do what you were saying. Don't try and look for your previous person because they are not coming back, no matter what you do. But look forward to being more and better. Always be inspired by the fact that that person who was so good, right, didn't necessarily die. Or rather, let me put it this way, your capacity to be great is not dead. You have probably just gone through a season of things not doing well. But if you look at it from, I still have capacity, you can be so much more than the person you used to be
Yo,
because you
it's
still
so
have room.
powerful.
Yeah, you still have room to grow and be better. You still have room to be so much more. And maybe the last thing is just to say, let's also be inspired by other people's stories. That is another form of help. Who out there failed but is making it. These inspirational posts on YouTube and whatnot. I think they're worth it. I think this show is
Yeah,
worth it.
yeah.
I'll prescribe this show as part of the solutions. How about just watching this and listening to how people are dealing with challenges every day and how they are recovering? I think, yeah, we'll all make it if we look at it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, my friend. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I appreciate your time. I've really tried so many times to get you to come to the
I'm
podcast.
finally here.
And you just dropped some
Yeah.
real serious bombs. And I
Yeah.
really, really, hey, maybe I should not say bombs.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've dropped
Yeah.
some really
No,
serious
I do
gems.
well. Yeah, it's
Serious,
fine.
serious
Thank you,
gems.
man. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
No, no problem, man. No problem. I was happy to be here. And yeah.
I hope that you guys at home, also wherever you are, listening to this and watching this, you found it quite inspiring as I did, and you picked up some few lessons about how you can rise up from your own experiences of failure and how you can take advantage of the kind of human connections you have access to and the other opportunities that might be there for you as you try to get back on your feet. Until next time, give your dreams a chance.